Hey everybody, it's Sterling here with another podcast for jazzpianoschool.com. Today we're talking about mastering the art of tenths. Now I'm always a fan of using more extended techniques on the piano beyond just playing single lines. And something I hear a lot of my favorite pianists doing is using tenths or sixths, the inversions of tenths, in creative ways to achieve certain effects on the keyboard. So today I'm going to show you some ways that you can practice using tenths and getting them under your fingers, and then how you can apply them in your comping and improvising. So the first thing you need to be able to do is play scales in tenths. That's the best way to get used to the intervals and just the coordination of playing multiple intervals at the same time. So we're going to start by practicing C major scale in tenths. So I like to start in this register. So put on a metronome, something like between 80 and 110 beats per minute. So you notice that I stopped at the top. Once you get more comfortable, you can just go straight through. And next we're going to go to invert that into the interval of a sixth. So instead of playing E on the top, we're going to play C, the root, and we're going to play the third on the bottom, E. So rather than C and E, we're now playing E and C. This is our sixth interval. One more time, straight through. So we want to take that through all 12 keys eventually. We want to go to the key of D flat next. Same thing with the sixths. Okay, so this is something that you can incorporate into your practice routine. I'd recommend doing this every day just because developing this coordination takes time, and the more you do it, the more seamless that connection will become. You can do that at a variety of tempos, you can change articulations, you can do it in a swing feel, anything you need to do to keep things interesting and change things up. But keep that in your rotation of your practice routine and keep those tenths, keep them going so that we can then go on to some applications. So, like I said, you can use these in your comping if you're playing behind a soloist, or in your improvising, and there are different ways that you can do that. The first way I would recommend is to practice these in a diatonic scale of seventh chords. So when we say diatonic, we mean within the key. So if we're doing the key of C, it's all white notes. When we're talking about seventh chords, we've got C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 with a flat 5, and C. These are all just the white notes. I'm going up one note in the C major scale at a time. Now if we arpeggiate these, we get a nice pattern here. So we call this the diatonic seventh chord arpeggios. We can do this in two hands. So it takes a little more coordination to do that in both hands. First, I'd recommend practicing them hands separate. hands together. And then back down. So here's where the tenths come in. This is the fun part. So instead of starting on C in the right hand, we're going to start on E. We've got an E minor 7 in our right hand. It's all white notes still. No need to worry. But now we're going to arpeggiate these in both hands at the interval of a tenth. So we're starting with a C in our left hand and E in our right hand. Alright, so pretty cool. We've got these tenths moving up through the diatonic scale of seventh chords. Let's do it going down, starting from C and E. Okay, so that's a pretty sound. We've got these tenth intervals. So there's some variations that you can try with this exercise, you know. So feel free to get creative with that exercise. You can change the rhythm, you can change the order of notes. We were going from the bottom up, but you can go from the top down. So if we did the tenths, it would be... So as you can see, there's a lot of different combinations, a lot of different possibilities for ways that you can use these tenths in the diatonic seventh chord arpeggio exercise. So we'll have this exercise notated in some PDF practice materials, which you can download in the link in the description. So let's talk about some ways that you can apply this in your comping. Well, anytime you have a chord progression that's diatonic in C major, this would be a great thing to use. A lot of times I'll use this over Latin chord progressions. Something especially like a 1-6-2-5 kind of thing would be great, or like a 1-4-5. So here's some examples of that. You know, something like... This is just like a C major, A minor, D minor 7, G. This could be like a C, F, G, F. This sounds a little more like calypso or some kind of style like that. So that's one application, specifically in a Latin style. You can also do this in minor. So if we were doing this in sort of a similar style but in minor, it could sound like this. So kind of more of like an Afro-Cuban sort of style. I'd hear that in sort of a minor progression, you know. So that'd be a nice way to come up with some sort of comping pattern in that minor key. So the last thing I want to show you is more of a jazz-specific application, and this would be over like a turnaround, for example. So if you had a turnaround progression that was something like a Ladybird, for example, like C, E flat 7, A flat 7, D flat 7, C. You can outline that using these tenths. So it would be C major 7 with a tenth above, E flat 7 with a tenth above, A flat 7 with a tenth above, and D flat 7 with a tenth above. You can think of this in terms of ninth chord upper structures. We've got C major with a ninth on top, E flat 7 with a ninth, A flat major with a ninth, and D flat 7 with a ninth. So if we arpeggiated those chords, it would sound like this. So again. These are some big chords. You could also make them all major sevenths. This is something that you hear Bill Evans do a lot. So instead of E dominant 7, it'd be E flat major 7, E flat major 9 specifically, A flat major 9, and D flat major 9. So if we arpeggiated that, one more time. Pretty cool. That could be a way to end a tune. You know, for example, if you get to the end of Ladybird, something like that. So that can be a cool way to incorporate those tenths. So today we covered a diatonic exercise for practicing tenths using 7th chord arpeggios. We covered a Latin specific style using tenths in sort of a accompaniment pattern in sort of a calypso or Afro-Cuban style. And lastly, we covered a more advanced jazz chord progression, sort of like a turnaround using tenths. So I hope that you have fun exploring all those different applications for using tenths in your comping and improvising. And feel free to, advance on those by practicing them in different settings, like over different tunes or different chord progressions. And I can't wait to hear what you come up with. So I hope you enjoy, and happy practicing.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all of our free, amazing education, all of the free podcasts, blogs. We do have a membership if you're looking to take a next step forward with us, get access to over 1,000 different jazz piano videos, playbooks, mini courses, a main course curriculum, success path, and so much more. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at support@jazzpianoschool.com. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy practicing.